I left Santa Fe Library and I headed down to this place called Fort Stanton, which is like a sort of military historical fort. Also, there's Snowy River Cave there, which is like a huge underground cave, but it was closed off because all the bats have this thing called white nose syndrome right now. So they won't let people into it. It was gated off, which may have been good for me because I might be a little scared of caves too. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe I'll have to go into a cave and find out. But yeah, so I went to this Snowy River place, and that was really cool. I got there late. I kind of got lost on the way, so I got there late. It's by this really cool city called Capitan. And again, altitude like 6,000 feet. And so I decided to stay in the car that night. And there was other people there, but I said it's too late, gotta stay in the car. Which is good because I really felt a very cougar-y vibe there as well. So the first day I hiked to Fort Stanton, like checked out all the buildings. Ended up watching this video on like what Fort Stanton was, which was really weird. Like I'm on this trip where I'm doing lots of hiking, but this guy at the historical site was like, "Hey man, you should check out this video." So I'm in this room watching this like short little educational DVD, like you can see at Socials 10 or something like that. I was like, "Well, this is weird, trippy, or whatever." And I went to this like church that was on the historical site. We played this piano for a while, so I have some footage of that. And then I like went on the trails again and got like totally lost. And was like afraid I was getting eaten by a cougar, but that was okay. I made a note at the end. And there was only one group of people there that night when I got back. So the next morning they kind of said hi, but they're kind of strange people. This van and stuff like that didn't do anything weird to me, but then they put on some rock and roll music, and instead of me being like typical camper, like, "Hey man, I'm trying to get in touch with nature," I was actually really digging it. I was like, yeah, that music just booming like that was good. And then they took off, and I went for like walk on the other side of the highway. And it was really a lot like Kamloops, like layout of the land, like up in Knutsford, like the way the rolling grasslands, but like rolling hills and stuff, whatever. And I found this old trolley that was like had an electrical cord to it that you kind of pull it with. It was totally broke down. And I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it. So I got on the trolley, like rode it across the whole thing, like didn't get injured. That was kind of cool. So we just wandered around that day. There was a fire. Fortunately, it wasn't anywhere near my car. So that was good. So I went back, stayed in the car that night, and then I was like, maybe I'll go down to this place called Socorro. Which would have been in the middle of the place I was going to, Pueblo Park, on the border of Arizona and New Mexico. But I went through Socorro and I checked out the spot, which is called the Box, and it's like this like climbing place, Bureau of Land Management style, and I wasn't feeling it, so I drove to Pueblo Park, which is by this place called Reserve, New Mexico. No service there. When you cross the Continental Divide, it's like, I mean, you get into forest land anyway, it's like totally dense forest, but you cross the Continental Divide and it's like, Continental Divide's like, all the rivers on the west of it flow into the Pacific, all the rivers in the east flow into the Atlantic. So that's, I guess, the Continental Divide, but it's kind of along the Rockies. You cross it and you see the vegetation change. Even though it's still forest, there's like a very subtle, but like you can notice it change for the better as you come to the west. So I was going to this place, and even before I got there, as I was driving through the desert, I crossed this great array, which is like a telescope thing. They use satellites, but they're in like a pattern. And I remember being back in university in physics, and we looked at that thing. And like a totally different world that I've left behind, but it was interesting going across the desert. I think I might have some footage of that too. So anyway, get to the forest, genius. Pueblo Park, it's like the 6 mile road down. It took me half an hour to drive 6 miles. So I was just sort of like, oh, don't break my car. But a genius spot, deep forest, you're way in it. Only one other guy was there. He was way off on the side. There was these cows there. It said bears. It said Mexican gray wolves. It said cougars. So I was like, oh shit. So the first night when I was in my tent, I heard this loud bellowing roar thing, and I was like, oh god. And then this creature walked right by my tent. Like, I think it bumped my car, and my tent and my car were like side by side. Turned out it was the bull cow, who all the other cows were scared of me, even guys with the horns, but the main bull, who they took his horns off, he just like wasn't scared of me at all. So like I ran into him a bunch of times. He just kind of like tested me out, but like now he was, the first night was giving me some territorial pissings, which I thought was a bear. I thought I was like, oh god, is this gonna be happening ever? Because his bellow was like not just like a cow bellow, it was like had like a on it too. So it's scary. Anyway, no big deal. So Pueblo Park, first day I believe, was it my birthday? Yeah, first day I think it was my birthday. I did this huge hike up this WS mountain thing, Genius Canyon along this river thing at the start that I got footage of. Probably up to 8,400 feet, I think, 6,000, I don't know. Super windy that day, but the listening trails didn't bother me, but up top you could really see it. So I came back down before it got dark. That was good. No cougars ate me. The next day I needed like a down day, so I just kind of did some interpretive trails around the site. That Pueblo Park is my like civil, I don't know, something camps in the 30s or whatever, and Native Americans before that, all this stuff. And I talked to the dude who was there, and he told me to get the spray from my car. I spray out down some roads underneath the wires. Yeah, so chill day that second day, and then The last day I was there, I did this Danger Park hike, which is awesome. It wasn't like, you didn't have to kind of think about where you had to go. It was very clear where you had to go, but it was up, 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 up. And you could split then. You want to go to this Aspen Mountain, but it would have been too long, or Flying Key Spring, which I thought might be a spring, but I thought it'd be dried out. So I was like, I'll go to this one, Pit Saddle. Because Pit Saddle continued to go up. And I love going up when I hike. I hate it when it goes hike down and you have to come back up. And then I like to do all my hike up, finish it off, all the way down. It's just easier that way. But Pit Saddle ended up being like, took me over this thing and just, like 60% ever. And then I go right back up to this hike again, super high, and I went higher than on the sports group, the highest spot. The only place my phone would even pick up emergency service. The whole site, that's how high up I was, probably some footage of that. And I'd go back down Pit Saddle, up again, and then back down. And on the way down, I was back in my chill mode, but I got a little sloppy, a little lazy. It's like a 22-mile hike. And I was stepping over this log, so I put this leg over top of it. The back leg's supposed to like come up like a hurdle, and I guess I was too lazy, and I just kicked it. And so I like got this big cut on my leg, and I was like, actually when I did it, I was worried that maybe I broke my shin. And I was just like, wouldn't even look at it, but it would bear my weight, so it's fine. So I went down, left Pueblo Park. I believe that was like Wednesday. I left Pueblo Park and came to Arizona